The church has spent centuries condemning homosexuality as sin, preaching shame, policing bodies, and targeting queerness. And yet, behind cathedral walls and sacred vows is a staggering number of closeted gays and lesbians. Some estimates say as high as 80%. In this episode, we're launching an investigation into homosexuality in the church, the psychology of religious shame, and how repression can transform itself into kink.
And our guest today is RYLAN Rosemary, he, her pronouns, who once devoted herself to becoming a pastor, but left it all behind for a life of queerness and kink. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Queer Collective podcast. I'm your host, Carbon.
I'm Emily.
And I'm RYLAN Rosemary.
And welcome to the show. And this episode is sponsored by our Patreon, link in the description down below, and also Field, so stay tuned for that.
You both grew up religious, so I'm wondering, did you think that the majority of nuns and clergy were gay?
I feel like growing up, I definitely didn't think that was a thing. Going through Bible college and sort of researching the history of the church and learning about it, there's definitely times when like my professor would sort of make mention that, oh, yeah, the church was a refuge for people who didn't fit into the sort of traditional marriage and the expectations of their society. They would just go into the church. Yeah. In college, it was like, oh, yeah, this is a thing we know was a phenomenon within sort of the academia of it.
It is a little bit suspicious where it's like, okay, you go into this role where you vow to not have kids, to not be married, to a lot of the time you vow to just not have sex at all.
Which
it's
is
like
crazy.
And if you think about it, in religion, they preach, I'm pretty sure I'm the one that grew up atheist, but they preach that homosexuality isn't like inherently bad, but it's acting on it, right? That is what's bad. So that's like kind of a way for you to have a godly life, even if you're a gay person.
It's like an easy out.
But I didn't think as a young kid, didn't think that like my pastor was potentially gay.
And I think it also depends heavily on which branch of Christianity we're talking about.
Which one do you think is the gayest?
The Catholic Church.
Really? Why?
So the Catholic Church, if you're a priest, you're not allowed to get married. In sort of the Eastern Orthodox Church, I'm pretty sure marriage is allowed. Right. And then sort of the Protestant denominations, I think also the Anglican Church, which is a really sort of like the English variant of Catholic, to put it super reductively and not explain it at all. Those branches you can get married. So like in the churches I was growing up in, the pastors all had families. You know, you had the pastor's wives, you had the pastor's kids, which was like
hetero.
Yeah, they're leading by example.
Yeah, exactly.
What you said actually aligns with the research that I had. In 2019, gay writer and researcher Frederick Martel published his expose book, In the Closet of the Vatican. This book includes interviews collected over 4 years with approximately 1,500 people. This includes like cardinals, bishops, priests, diplomats, and Swiss guards.
All the big dogs.
Yeah. And these interviews form the foundation of his narrative about the presence of gay clergy. But the connection, the kind of like conclusion that he draws on that ties into what you just said is he believes that expecting celibacy is the cause. And he found that in places around the world that don't expect celibacy from their clergy, they don't see gays flocking to the rolls in the same number. So, yeah.
I think for a lot of people that grow up in broadly religious upbringings, but definitely Christian ones, and definitely like the evangelical tradition, sort of the Protestant evangelical tradition, a lot of people leave the church who don't want to leave the church.
Why?
Because they're gay and they're not accepted and
they're not allowed,
or they're trans and they want to figure themselves out. And so the option for like being closeted in the church, there's no like easy, I can still like enjoy relationship with God and like have a relationship with Jesus and like pursue religion in a way that I find beautiful and good and like fruitful. But in the Catholic Church, there's this easy avenue you can just slide into, and it's still
you're a
closeted,
very respected person in society.
And in the community that you grew up in and raised, you don't have to like do the crazy psychological like rift of leaving the thing that you grew up in.
As many of you know from our last episode, sadly this year we've lost our biggest presenting sponsor, and that means that is more than half of the cost that we need to keep this show going. And so many of you have responded to that call and have signed on to our Patreon to support us, and that means so much to us.
We were so excited to see people join our Patreon since our last episode. Seriously, we cannot thank you enough for your support. We're truly working so hard to bring you queer stories that aren't often told, especially at a time where people are trying to make these stories invisible.
If you join our Patreon, the kind of perks that you can expect is ad-free episodes, extended cuts of every single episode, live chat moderated by us in the format of kind of a book club but for the podcast, where we discuss every episode, and exclusive videos that you cannot find anywhere else, and our eternal gratitude.
This show exists because of all you beautiful people, our wonderful community, and I know that money is tight for a lot of us, but if you are able to, a few dollars a month really help us keep this podcast running and keeping queer voices loud and proud.
Thank you, and we love you. Now back to the episode.
What was it like for you growing up religious? Like how far in the depths did you go?
Pretty in depth. I definitely say my experience of Christianity is less traumatic than some people I knew.
Okay.
Congratulations. That's good.
Yeah. And partly because my family was great, and partly because I got lucky.
Oh, you got one of those. You got a great one.
It's a mixed bag, of course. All families are. But so my religious upbringing, I was going to multiple youth groups a week in different churches in the community. I went to Christian summer camp. I volunteered at Christian summer camp.
Damn.
I was a leader in summer camps. And then, Bible studies at like high school on
Christian
lunch break
all around.
kind of thing. Like all in all.
Top tier Christian.
Did you fully believe it?
Oh, yeah.
You believed in it.
You got
Heaven
it.
and
Come
hell.
on, you're doing
You're like-
Bible study, you're volunteering, you believe
Yeah,
it.
you believe heaven exists at this point.
Oh yes, and hell.
And you're
like,
trying to
all
save
the, like,
others.
I was the like reading books about how evolution's not real and like the arguments
gotta
there.
do
Like
that,
I was fully in. And it's very weird being on the other side of that now. Because one of the arguments in sort of my branch of Christianity that I was raised in was like, oh, if they leave the church, they were never really, they didn't really believe.
Right.
And I can say without a shadow of doubt, that is not true.
Yeah.
You can absolutely be fully convinced. You can have religious experiences. You can have things that, the church says are what is the proof, what is the convincing. You can have those experiences.
You can learn more information and change your mind, just
And
like any
then
other
realize
topic.
that it wasn't the proof.
But that's different though. Having information using critical thinking is much different than belief, blind faith, which is what a lot of religion relies on. It's like if you don't have blind faith, then you're not faithful enough. Up until what point in your life were you
Third year
very
Bible
faithful?
college.
Third year Bible college.
Yeah, so after
you went to Bible college.
I went to Bible college for 5 years. And so
Wait,
Two of those.
two of those you were skeptic though, I guess.
yeah, and it's very interesting going through that while you're convinced and then you start having doubt. You've already put all of your chips in.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like
Like,
your
you're
whole
already
community
in.
is that, you're so deep.
All of my family, all of my community, all of my friends, like my
Such an
entire
uprooting.
world, now that I'm not in the church and I've left that, there was this period of time where it's like you have to rewrite what you think about everything.
Yeah.
Like you walk outside and you look at a tree, and what's a tree? Well, it's this beautiful manifestation of God's creation. And then it's not. And like
your whole
that's
life
just
was
like
shook
looking
up.
at a tree.
Right.
Yeah.
Like everything, your entire world is built off of this one perspective and this one system of belief. And then all of a sudden you're like, actually, there's some holes here. And it's like this system of thinking about everything that sort of like starts to rip in half and fall apart.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. It's very intense.
That's
be very
extremely
overwhelming.
existential.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I am very existential.
I definitely feel like you were deeper than I was in the bubble because while I did grow up religious and I did go to Catholic school, I don't feel like I was as in it. Like, yeah, I went to church and here and there I would do some Bible study, but I took it as like just hanging out with people. We do this and like other people do this, and it's like kind of an interesting way to hang out. Yeah.
Which is a huge part of it. Like the community and like having people to hang out with is an important part of it. But
Of course, which is like, I guess, what embeds you into the trenches of
Yeah.
it, and like what keeps you there is like if you build a whole life around it and your whole community's there, then that makes sense. But I also wasn't the best at like making really, really close friends when I was younger. So I'm like, I don't know, you don't mean that much to me. I don't care to lose you that much.
it's not that
To
big
be
of a
honest, like
loss.
it's just like it wasn't that big of a deal for me in terms of like, I'll never see these people again. I'm like, it's fine.
Did you ever really believe in like heaven and hell and all of that? You did? Okay.
yeah,
So you
for
had
sure.
some conviction.
Oh, I had conviction.
Okay.
For me, it was like being gay was like really the spark that broke everything. And then from there, it was like just like a huge snowball effect that continues, honestly, to snowball now. And it continues to transform as I continue to ask questions. And maybe, you know, for yourself, you had like full conviction. I don't know if I ever felt that strongly about any of it, though. Like, I believed it because I was like, everyone believes it, but I didn't believe it. I don't think I ever believed it with like my full heart.
I saw this like hot take from Jordan Jensen on like the subway clips, and it kind of changed the way I think about religious people a little bit. Like what she said was, if you actually believe in the story and you believe in heaven and hell and you believe that people who are sinners are going to burn in hell for all eternity, like if you truly believe that with conviction, like you're going to be those people out on the street like begging people to believe this the same way that like vegans do. You know what I mean? It's
I
like,
don't know.
believe it with some conviction. Like if you like really, like that's a very intense story.
I don't know if I fully agree with that because
No?
not everyone's a savior. Not everyone likes to put in effort, you know?
I
Some
guess,
people are like, as long as I get in, I'm good. Going back to the gay church, though, how do we know that majority of clergy and nuns are gay?
There's actually like mountains of evidence.
Mountains?
I'm not going to read all of it to you right now, but I found like the key pieces that I thought were very compelling. And the thing is, kind of like what RYLAN was saying, it's a bit of like an open secret in the church. So it's not perfect evidence, I will say.
But they were roommates.
Yes.
It's kind of like that.
I'll show you and then you tell me what you think.
Okay.
So, as I mentioned, in 2019, the gay writer and researcher Frederick Martel published his expose book, In the Closet of the Vatican. And this book includes interviews over 4 years with 1,500 people, including cardinals, bishops, priests, diplomats, and Swiss guards. And they all form the foundation. What he's trying to prove is that there's a lot of gay people in the church, right?
Right.
So the real figure is unknowable, but I think this is pretty significant that the Pope's former chief Latinist estimated publicly that 80% of the Vatican staff could be gay.
Estimated publicly. Like based off his vibes?
What he thinks, yeah.
Right.
So there was no survey, but this is like a pretty influential person in the Vatican coming out and saying that he thinks 80% of...
Like based on my observations.
Yeah.
I would give it 80.
Right? And I'd say that's a pretty trusted source, but Martel goes on to try and like prove this more in his book. The first being his exploration into the world of migrant sex workers, which is suspiciously a bustling industry only in Rome. Elsewhere in Europe, there are fewer gay sex workers on the streets. And Martel says, in part, this is because of the concentration of priests who seek out the migrants for their anonymity. The sex workers tell him that their priestly clientele divide into two classes. The lordly ones who treat them like dirt and pay very badly.
The lordly ones, eh?
Yeah, like I guess the ones that are very convicted and are very shameful of themselves.
I see, makes sense.
Yeah, and then there's the younger ones who are tortured by tenderness, who fall in love with them, and the sex workers carefully cultivate them for their money.
The tortured ones.
Yeah, but before all of this, before Martel's book, there was a scandal in 2010 where an Italian magazine, the Panorama, published an investigation into the double lives of gay priests in Rome. Using hidden cameras, they captured priests visiting gay clubs, bars, and having sex. And I would say that's like pretty direct. That's evidence. That's hard-hitting evidence.
That is. Is that legal, though? Can you do that? Who's to say? There's been so many scandals. Journalism.
I don't know what that falls under.
It crosses a line, but I also think the fact that the church really discriminates against gay people, I think it's open game.
As per Jesus, less grace for the religiously powerful who then abuse and take advantage of other people. That's kind of like Jesus's whole thing.
I agree. And also, Martel said in his book that the priests who are gay are less likely to be open to homosexuality. So it's like the popes and the priests who are straight are the ones who feel like they have the space to advocate for gay rights. But it's usually like the closeted ones are very homophobic, actually, and like are preaching it hard as like a cover.
That is what shame does to you.
So I think you can be exposed, in my opinion, if you're hurting the community.
I mean, the shame becomes so big. They'll like do an act and then be like so ashamed of that act that they'll treat that person that they did it with so poorly and then like not want to pay them. This was wrong of me to do. So you need to be punished too.
Yeah.
Even though I'm the one that sought it out.
That's internalized shame for you. After the release of the book, Martel said he received countless anonymous letters from gay clergy around the world coming out to him and sharing their stories.
Wow.
What he said is like it seemed like so many people have this huge weight on their shoulders and they just wanted to like spill it somewhere.
They need to confess their
even
sins.
Even anonymously. Like they just wanted to share it. The interesting thing though, I remember when I was working on that World War I project, I found a story from someone's autobiography that they released after the war, and this was like a Canadian story specifically. And it was a story about a priest. He was in school studying and then realized he was gay and like went to a confessional, and then the Pope was like, "Oh, it's okay, come meet me after," and then came on to him. And then after that, the guy left the church. I think his last name was Lacouture, and then he became a fashion designer.
See, what a beautiful life.
Yeah.
Like there's options that are great. You can just go live your truth and not be like coded and weighed down by shame.
Yeah, come see me after in my private dungeon.
Exactly. But it shows that they're having secret sex.
Oh, for sure they're having secret sex. Did you ever lie in the confessional?
We didn't have confessional.
You didn't have confessional?
No, because I was the evangelical Protestant kind of branch.
Different branch. Like I told people who like grew up in the church with confessional, like we were talking about our confessional stories. Like, what's the worst confessional you've ever had? And I was like, oh, like I told a priest that I watched porn, and then he was shocked. And then and they were like, wait, you told the truth? And I was like, was I not supposed to? Everyone lies, apparently. I don't know. I didn't know that. So that was weird for me. That was awkward, and I'll always remember it.
Also, it wasn't just men. Lesbians have been documented to be attracted to nunneries since the Renaissance period in medieval times.
Oh, yes. The gay nuns.
It seems to have been such a problem that the church had to repeatedly issue bans on nuns sleeping together. And this is like how we know about it, implying that it happened enough to worry authorities. Like this was the thing. This is where the lesbians were at. One example is the 7th century Penetial of Bede, who was an English monk, assigned a penance of 7 years for nuns who had sex with each other, quote, by means of an instrument. It's always a problem when you bring a dildo into
those instruments.
You're trying to replace a man.
Yeah. That's the real sin there.
Yeah.
That's genuinely the real sin.
Yeah.
Like there were in our history of lesbian sex episode, like back in the medieval times, I think it was like, you are allowed and it's okay to get for a woman to give another woman an orgasm. But if you use an instrument,
that's sex.
Big problem.
Disgusting.
Yeah. In 1985, if we fast forward, the book Lesbian Nuns Breaking Silence is released, and it's a compilation of the experiences of 51 queer women who were or are nuns, and many of whom describe their love affairs or deep same-sex affection within convent walls.
51, and those are just the ones that came out? That sounds very tame in comparison to what probably happens.
Yeah, but this is my evidence. This is what I collected. This is my portfolio that shows that the church is a secret gay organization. Do we agree?
It's fascinating to me that it's like, okay, so if you're gay and you're in the church and you want to stay in the church, you can't do anything gay. You can be how you are. We might try and change that because some people do. But if we're not going to change it, here's this path for you to go where you're hanging out with all these other people in really close, intimate quarters where we told all of the other people who are having the same air quotes struggle / just are gay or lesbian. And that'll be a safe place for you to not act on your desires, which we've labeled sinful.
Oh,
It's
totally.
like this is a brilliant plan with no flaws at all.
Yeah.
And nothing's gonna go wrong.
Remember how like you know how like the Pope is chosen where they like lock themselves in a room until they decide? So it's just like a room full of gay dudes choosing who the next Pope is.
Yeah.
Some weird happening in there.
How did you come to that conclusion?
And it's crazy because like back in the day, like, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 400, 500 years ago.
Back in that day,
like back in the medieval era, all of those times, it's like, I guess there's a place for you to go. But having that perspective of it now is like, you just have other options.
And I think potentially for a lot of people, the move that you made could be too scary. It's like you could have this conviction that these things are wrong and you know who you are, but this is your whole life. And like starting again for some people is
terrifying.
Feels terrifying. And I think some people can't. They feel they can't.
Justifiably so. It actually is terrifying. And you there's this like element to which it's reasonable to be afraid of this.
Yeah.
Because it is a huge shift. And my connection to the Christian community is still really strong because I still know a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting watching people who are in that situation, who are in the church, whether it's homosexuality, whether it's their own gender or attraction that's causing them troubles. Lots of people have a lot of problems with the church in its various manifestations. And so there's a lot of people I know who are disconnecting and leaving in various ways to various degrees. I always talk about my experience where I'm doing the same process as they are. I just went to Bible college and dumped a bunch of gasoline on the fire to really get it going quick. I just did it quick. And that's something I find like I'm lucky to have been able to do. It's just do it really intensely, really quick, but it's still scary if you're doing it slower.
Do you still have faith?
Ooh, that is a great question. Yes, I still describe myself as religious intentionally. I find a lot of people aren't comfortable with that word, so trigger warning there. Like, if that word makes you uncomfortable when you're talking about your spiritual practice, don't use it. But I've chosen to continue calling myself religious as an act of saying you don't get that word, as an act of reclamation from sort of like the big religions who say we're in control, we have all the power. But my journey was from Christianity into like a very stark materialist, like only matter exists, there's no spiritual things going on at all, atheism. And then that sort of like by scraping it all away gave like fertile ground for me to like rediscover what spirituality and religion are in a way that was natural and not being imposed upon me as like you have to do exactly this or you're evil.
What broke your initial set of beliefs and structure around it?
I know like for you leaving religion, you mentioned like the homosexuality was kind of key in that journey. That came after for me. I didn't get to figure that stuff out until I was already on my way out. It's the hypocrisy I think was really the core because I was all in. I listened to the words of Jesus. I really paid attention to what he said. And I believed it. I was listening to the most radical people. And the most radical people, though often misguided and very harmful in the application of their earnestness, they were earnest. Those are the people I was drawn to. Those are the people who I was listening to. The professors who really loved God and believed that what he brought to the world was goodness, love, mercy. I love songs. I reference them all the time. That's how I like work through things. There's this song I came across and there's a line, I believed the words of Jesus so much I followed them right out the door.
And
it's like, I think that's a lot of what people I know who are in the church, in the evangelical movement, there's like this evangelical sort of descriptor. There's a lot of people like me who bought in, believed it. And then saw it was, I'd say most situations, harmful, destructive, and just not what it claims to be. And
that's how I view religion as well. Like I grew up atheist, but I found myself in nature to be a very spiritual person, you know, like, absolutely. And I think the way almost every religion speaks about spirituality is like a common feeling, you know, that I think anyone can access outside of organized religion. And I do believe in energy and those kinds of things, not to get real Wookiee in here with you guys. But I find almost all organized religions to be so hypocritical, and they use their message for control, for power, to hurt people, to hurt marginalized people. They don't give to homeless people. They don't care about homeless people for the most part. You know what I mean? Like, they don't care about people. Like, it's very anti-socialism, where honestly, I think Jesus was a socialist.
Jesus was a commie, baby.
Right? Like, hardcore. And I'm like,
he was a red.
And they aren't, you know? And that, so it's that hypocrisy really that it made you leave.
Yeah, really. And it came from, it was a two-pronged attack of the actual hypocrisy I was seeing. Often from well-meaning people. That's the hard part. It's like, oh, you're a good person, you want to do good, and you're just, the things you believe are so misaligned with who Jesus was that you're doing incredible harm.
Like what?
A summer camp I was going to, I had a friend who, from my perspective at the time, I was like, oh, he's coming to Christian camp to be a volunteer. This is exciting. He's not really a Christian, but he's not. He's interested. He's curious. And then, you know, as happens at summer camps, he snuck away with a girl. He got caught. And then the way the leadership treated him was just like, okay, you're gone. Picked him up, drove him home, ditched him. You're out of here. No conversation, no like discussion. And it's something that like everyone at camp was doing, not me, because I was too naive to know that's what we were supposed to be doing.
Not
like,
me, because I'm a good Christian.
Exactly. I didn't know that that's what everyone was doing. But like the disproportionate response. And things like in college, there was a specific person who engaged in an inappropriate relationship with someone he had previously been a youth pastor for. And she was now a volunteer. She wasn't one of the kids anymore, but they had a relationship, and the leadership found out about that at the college, because as part of the college, you would like go do volunteering in the local churches and things like that. There was some sort of a disciplinary process, but he still was graduating as a youth pastor.
I see.
One of my friends, like, we found out about this, and we went to confront the dean. And his response was basically, well, it's already been like dealt with and settled. So I have my degree, my undergrad, and still to this day, there's part of me that regrets graduating.
Oh, really? Like you wish you had left in the middle?
I don't know what I wish I would have done, but there's part of me that wishes that I'd refused my degree, because if they're letting him graduate, what does that mean even to get a degree from
it's
a
like
school?
It's no longer an honor then.
It's like a really complicated situation, and at the time, you know, I didn't know what the right path forward was.
I found everything to be like a performance. And here's the thing, I knew this from an early age, I would say, but I like stayed with it, with all of its like, I guess, faults that I found until like the part about being gay came out. And I think that's the thing that broke it for me. Not because of like, okay, like you're not supposed to be gay, so I'm gonna leave. Like, it wasn't even that for me. It was just like, I know I'm a good person. I've behaved very well my whole life. I have been like kind, and I have like stayed out of trouble. Like, I wasn't a troublemaker at all. Then for that to be like the thing, that's like, well, none of what you did counts then, is what that felt like. And I was like, this is bullshit.
Because it really is like, the bar is perfection. And the whole message of Christianity essentially is actually, this is the bar, and there's no world in which you can ever get there. You're fucked, bud.
Right.
And actually, you're broken, and you need Jesus. And that's the only thing that's really going to matter. And once you've got Jesus, it's covered. You're perfect now, no matter what you do.
But also
you should be trying to live up to it. You
should be trying, because God hates sin, right? But he loves you. So he put sin in you. In order for you to be always like broken and trying to fix it. And you're like, wait, hold up. God loves me, but he puts sin, but he hates sin. I'm like, I don't.
It's
Why?
a very confusing twist. And so that's like the second prong of what really got me out of the church is like just the theology, like the thinking of it, the system of like belief. There's certain points where like if you start studying it and you're not just like taking it at face value, and then you start ironing it, okay, but this kink, okay, well, but I'll iron it out. Okay, but the kink, it doesn't line up right.
Yeah.
And if you really start ironing it out, there's all these points where like it's a critical failure point to the whole system of what everyone's saying, and people like try and patch it. It's like, okay, this beam is broken, let's fix it with duct tape.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
the system falls apart if you really look too hard.
When you ask questions, they don't have an answer for it other than like, God works in mysterious ways.
Oh, yeah.
But if God works in mysterious ways, then why can't I be gay? Like, you know, like that's what I didn't understand is that it's
and God doesn't make any mistakes either.
But it's
Isn't
like, but obviously then he did. If he made me gay and he doesn't like gay, you know, that's a mistake. That's your mistake. That's not mine. You know, when you're picking and choosing like which sins are okay versus which sins are not okay. And it's just like, it doesn't make any sense anymore. And
totally. And I think a lot of people end up being okay with premarital sex and these different things, but then they're really not okay with queerness, you know? And it's like, why are these things ranked?
Yeah. And like even when in the theological system, all sins are equal.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally like
they're supposed to be. Yeah.
Being snippy with someone and murdering someone on the like scoreboard of whether or not you're going to hell equal.
Yeah.
There's no ranking, and yet there's this human system. The church is a very human system, despite it claiming to be not.
Yeah.
It's fundamentally mostly human.
Yeah.
There's this very deep social ranking of every sin, and
I think it's political.
From church to church. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Can I be honest with you?
Please do.
I'm so sick and tired of these dates that feel like job interviews. In 2025, we deserve a space where we can show up just as we are, ready to meet other people just as they are. So lucky for you, on Field, you have the breathing room to explore your desires. Think open relationships, cuddling, being a brat, and find communities that share your interests. Think D&D, tennis, zine making. Free from ads and completely independent, this is the place that draws curious, playful, and open-minded people, the ones that you have been looking for. So if you're feeling curious, there's a little preview of what dating on Field has been like for Emily.
Field is the only dating app where I don't have to hide parts of myself. As someone who's both kinky and polyamorous, most platforms make dating feel like a job. Shifting through profiles, decoding vague bios, embracing myself for the moment I have to explain my relationship structure, unsure of how it'll land. But here, transparency isn't just welcomed, it's expected. It's built into the culture. I can lay everything out in my bio, no pretense, no softening, no waiting for the right moment to disclose. And the best part, I know I won't just be tolerated for it, I'll be celebrated. There's something liberating about not having to ease someone into who you are, whether it's naming the dynamics that make you feel most at home or exploring desires that might be too much elsewhere. Field creates space for honesty from the start. It means no second guessing, no unnecessary filtering, just a place to show up as yourself and trust that you'll be met there.
So get out your phone, go to the App Store or Google Play and download Field. That is FEELD. Thank you, Field, for sponsoring this episode.
How do you think religious shame uniquely impacts queer erotic desire? In a 2025 study by Room, Rice, and Deaton that conducted research on former Christians who later identified as queer, found that religious beliefs and emotional conditioning continue to influence identity and mental health even after de-identifying from the religion. Researchers call this religious residue, the lingering cognitive and emotional frameworks learned during childhood. And this can manifest as persistent guilt during sex, difficulty reconciling spirituality and sexuality, and fear of punishment or moral failure.
The residue is so real for me because even to this day, I'm still working through like my religious shame and like shedding a layer as we take steps forward. And like it feels really good, really nice. But like, I think it's been like, 12 years later to still be shedding layers is like, whoa. You know,
it's a lot of layers.
It's a lot of layers. And you don't realize, or for me at least, it was kind of like unconsciously shameful. Like, and I don't realize that it's even there until something comes up and I'm like, whoa, now I got to work through this in one form or another.
What kind of things have come up? Do you know? Like, is there an example?
Like, I think most recently, like kink shame. Growing up religious, like you're taught that sex is one specific thing and desire is also a specific thing. And you are not to go outside of those bounds. For me to have desires to outside of those bounds is I'm like, am I still a good person? Am I okay? Like, is there something wrong with me?
I came out to my parents as bisexual, and that did not go well. I have in my notes here, I've got the love. They love me. There's the support. They support me as a person.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the acceptance is just not there.
Yeah.
That's something we just don't talk about. And so like having
Yeah.
that be the starting point of me being like, oh, I'm actually queer and there's some things going on, just as like, I think I'm bisexual. And then now I'm pansexual, I'm bisexual, I have an understanding of those. I'm non-binary.
Yeah.
I'm like somewhere kind of on the trans spectrum, figuring that out.
Yeah.
It's like the shame there. Every little step forward I make, there's another layer of like shame that I didn't expect.
I find it curious that you describe that as great, though,
Yeah,
in terms with your
okay.
family. Because if that's your definition of great, then I would say that for myself as
Way
well.
to
Great.
call me out like my therapist did on this exact point. So yeah, he literally was like, Rylan, what you're describing isn't acceptance.
You also said it's better than everyone else. You know,
Not everyone else.
You guys,
It's not better than everyone else, right?
But a lot of people.
But it's better than a lot of people.
you both
And
did come out with a
sometimes-
lot of positivity.
Here's the thing. That coming at it, my point now, it's not because I want to like be wishy-washy about it.
Yeah.
It's more so because there is a lot in the world to be fearful of or be like negative about and all these different things. The more positive I think that I can look at certain things within my control, I think the better I feel, the happier it is for me. So it's not really to spare anyone's feelings. It's more so to like enjoy my life and like have more happiness.
Yeah, and it is something that's out of your control for the most part.
Yeah, but like how I approach it is within my control.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
I think the place I'm at now with that is one where I've chosen to put in the work with my relationship with my parents. Like that's a relationship that like I'm going to work at and it's going to suck and it's going to be raw and it's going to be tender and there's parts of it that I've just buried already. Like there's hopes I had for my relationship with my parents specifically that like it's gone.
Yeah.
We're not getting that. That's fine. We'll work on what we can.
Yeah.
Maybe for the kids at home. Something I'm really like passionate about is trying to be, I live in a rural Ontario town. It's traditionally very conservative. I've chosen to be, I want to be visibly queer. I want to be someone that like some kid in their family who goes to church every week sees me and be like, oh, queer people exist.
Yeah, you
and
wanna be
are
authentic.
here and are living and are happy and thriving.
Yeah, even in the rural towns.
Especially in the rural towns. Yeah, we're there, we're thriving. I feel like a lot of people coming out seems like this zero-sum game. It's like you gotta come out fully to everyone about everything and like be really loud. And like my parents, I don't know what they know about me. I came out to them once.
Right.
I came out to them as bisexual. And I told them some other stuff about my life they didn't know.
Yeah.
And that went poorly. and then
It is what it is.
and I had to do it while I was drunk in a hostel in Europe, as far as away from them as possible. That's when I felt comfortable enough to do it. And it went about as well as I expected it to. Yeah. And we came home and there was sort of one conversation of maybe we should talk about this more. And that was several years ago. And we haven't talked about it since.
Yeah.
It really sucks. It's a really raw wound. There's things about my life that like
You
they
don't get to share.
get the joy of knowing about.
Yeah.
I have a really cool life and I do a lot of really cool, exciting, dynamic, interesting things.
Yeah.
And that's something they just don't get the joy of sharing it.
Yeah.
And I don't have to come out to them about like all the other stuff because I've come out to them as much as they're ready to receive.
Yes.
And you kids do not have to come out to anyone ever that you don't want to. There's no, you need to come out to the people that you want to know that part of your life.
Yeah.
And if people don't choose to participate in your life, you're not obligated to let them know.
And sometimes knowing you so intimately is something that needs to be earned. Like you need to, someone needs to show you that they're a safe person to hold that part of you.
My sister's amazing. She knows all sorts of stuff. There's like other avenues where I am very much fully myself. And there's, there's segments of my family really that don't get that. And that really is their loss.
Yeah.
But it's something I also have to mourn.
Especially when you grew up with a very close family dynamic. And like you said, you had a positive family experience growing up. So losing that is really painful.
I feel everything you just said. Like everything that you described, I'm like 100% there with you. You understand what you lost. You still grieve. You still mourn it. You are trying to, have a positive spin on it and still having the relationship that you can have and being grateful for the relationship that you can have. Relationships generally are complicated. Oh, yeah. Right? Especially the ones that you're born into and that you didn't choose.
Yeah.
And you have to like work harder at those.
Absolutely.
Whatever loving relationship that you can have in whatever way that looks like, even though it's not ideal, can be a very precious thing.
Yeah.
What do religious teachings tell us about sexual behavior? What were you told about sexuality and gender and these things?
My favorite class in college was taught by an Anglican priest, and it was a night class. It was a very controversial class because it was...
Well, it's at night. It must be.
Marriage, singleness, and human sexuality in a theological perspective, which is a mouthful of a title.
Yeah.
But like we got into the weeds of the doctrine of singleness in the Catholic Church. What various theologians wrote about anal sex specifically. Yeah. Generally very bad opinions. Like they're like horrible,
Sodomy.
don't do it, bad.
Don't do it.
Yeah, religious perspectives on it, like very restricted. And sex is penis and vagina. And if it's not that, it's not sex. Yeah. And it's only between a man and woman. And this is the correct theology. And that's what everyone says.
To
and
procreate.
If it's not that, yes. And if it's not for procreation, procreation's not possible. It's not good. It's bad.
So no pleasure.
No
basically.
pleasure. Oh, goodness,
it's all
no.
procreation.
No, it's just procreation. Which is just such a huge missing of what sex is.
And I think I can add to it too. Like in many religious systems, the stigma is built directly into the doctrine, I would say. And like virtue is often defined through abstinence, obedience, and strict sexual control, especially outside of heterosexual marriage. Kind of back to religious shame, philosopher Michael Foucault describes this dynamic specifically in The History of Sexuality, his 1978 book. And he argues that religious institutions historically regulated sexuality through what he calls the confessional production of sexuality. This is another good one, like religious residue. The confessional production of sexuality, in other words, is people are taught to constantly examine, confess, and monitor their own desires. And over time, individuals begin policing themselves, watching their own thoughts and feelings for signs of moral failure. And for queer people raised in these environments, this can shape erotic development in unique ways. So desire becomes linked with guilt, secrecy, and fear of spiritual punishment. And instead of learning that attraction is a natural part of identity, queer individuals may grow up believing their erotic feelings are evidence of personal or moral failure.
Why do you think that religion is like anti-pleasure?
That is a
Jesus
good
didn't
question.
say no anal.
I think sodomy.
Jesus didn't say no orgasms.
This is a key question
for women.
Because the whole system of Christianity, like as a denial of pleasure and a fetishization of suffering.
Yeah.
The religion.
We must suffer, yes.
The God chose to become a human and suffer. That was the point of him becoming human, is so he could experience suffering. And your role model is this divine, completely related to you, like completely different experience deity who chose to come to be human. And the point of him being human was not to have joy. It was to bring a message and suffer and die.
Yeah.
And that's your role model.
Die for your sins that I put in you, by the way.
Yes. So pain is good.
And don't they say this is like your payment for going to heaven?
Yeah. That's
suffering.
That was like what God required of us, and we couldn't do it. So Jesus came and did it for us. And now all of our life should be about him because we owe him for that free gift.
I thought the gift was free. I don't
Yeah,
understand
but, like,
why
you
we
have to
still
be
have to
doubted.
suffer.
Yeah.
He already paid the price.
See, this is one of those wrinkles that just doesn't iron out. It doesn't line up.
As someone who views religion as just like a means of controlling people, like the general population, if you look at like why would they do this? Like, why can't you have a little bit of pleasure in Christianity? And I think the way these people would see it is like a slippery slope. Like you feel one bit of it and you want more.
This perspective of like all pleasure is evil, so actually you want it all, and the moment you do one thing you're just going to be doing the horrible things you could possibly imagine, all bets wrong. That's not actually how you are as a person.
No.
When you realize that like, oh, pleasure is actually just good, you want some pleasure. And it's like, it's not a cliff.
Oh my God, no. And the people who say like they would be out there like killing people or be horrible. Like if I didn't have God, I would be a monster. I'm scared of you.
Yeah.
Like there's people who need religion to be a morally ethical and good person.
Yeah.
What do you mean? And to be honest, I feel as the hedonistic, very taboo person that I am, queer person that I am, I feel I have like much stronger ethics and values towards humanity than most religious people do.
Yeah.
You know, like I think I have more in common with Jesus, I have more in common with Jesus than a lot of these fucking conservatives do.
Oh, absolutely.
And a lot of these Christians do. Sorry.
Yeah. The contradictions are there. And like I was saying, there's the time when I like, okay, everything's off the table. And it's just like scraped bare. And there's this fertile ground. And I'm like,
you know what I'm picturing now? A Venn diagram of me, Jesus, and then the stuff in the middle.
it's a fun crossover. There's some wine.
Okay, continue.
So yeah, this fertile ground, I was like, okay, I do actually, because I was told that my only morality was from Jesus in the Bible, and well, not from God more.
Yeah.
Like, so starting from zero, I thought, which wasn't true at all, but that's what I was told. So that's how I approached it. I was like, okay, what is foundation of morality? Well, I exist, you exist, everybody else exists, and there's nothing fundamentally different about us on a like moral scale. Myself and yourself, like your experience is equally to mine. Okay, so there's nothing about me that's better than anyone else. Starting from there, that's really what all morality is fundamentally based off of, in and out of religion. And if you start from there, it's not easy, but it follows to like build up a system of like, okay, well, everyone is equal. And I have to treat people with respect and dignity just as much as myself, and their autonomy, their rights, their consent around their self and their belongings. It just follows naturally. It's not actually required that a God's telling you that.
But then in reality, I mean, like thinking of these contradictions is in churches a lot. You'll see people who feel like they have this direct line to God and like I am.
But there is
the holiest.
there is a hierarchy.
A lot of ego and hierarchy and power, and that I don't think actually views people as equal.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
No. It's like, hey, God teaches us and Jesus teaches us that we are all equal, but not in this church. In this church, I am above you because I'm reading the Bible and you're listening to me read it.
Yeah.
And you, as a person who comes to this church regularly and performs, you are better than literally everyone else because they're all evil because they're not here at church.
Can you tell us the story of how you ultimately decided to leave the church and like coming across the kinkiness and all of this?
It's surprisingly quite tied to the period of my life where I was leaving the church. Also in third year Bible college. I was like, there are desires in me. And I do want to explore them and figure out what they are. And I don't know where I got this information, but I just went and made a FetLife profile.
What do you mean you don't know where you got this information?
How the hell did I know what FetLife was?
Yeah, where did this?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Jesus gave it to you in a vision.
I'm sure I was having some weird conversation with someone or saw something online, but from whatever source, I figured out that FetLife existed, went on, made a profile, found an event in the next city over, drove like an hour to Regina, Saskatchewan, and it was at like some weird community hall something, and it was just a bunch of people doing kinky demos.
Cool.
And
going from never having seen it to just seeing it.
Like, oh, there's a person getting flogged. People are tying each other up over there, never having seen it in person.
Were you a virgin at this point?
Yes.
Wow. This is like literally going like 0 to 100 immediately.
But it's such the thing of like, the perspective was like, oh, once you do one thing, it's over. So like, I wasn't going to destroy my entire community and like question everything and like have to restructure my entire belief system about everything.
To be tame about it.
To just like maybe go flirt with somebody and like go on a date and maybe kiss them. Ooh.
Right.
Like, no, it was let's figure it out and see. Let's explore.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. So for the next 3 years of Bible college, I was actively involved in the kink community in Regina and Saskatoon. One of my roommates at one point, I told him I was in a knot tying club.
You know, like Boy Scouts.
Which was technically true. Technically true.
We were doing shibari.
It was shibari, yes. So, you know, still trying to navigate the like what to tell who honesty coming out about
a knot tying club is hilarious.
That's so funny.
So funny.
Yeah, we're getting nautical.
Yeah. And so it was like, interesting enough, kink was like one of the first things I really started diving into. Like I was still a virgin for a year or two after that.
Well, a lot of it you can do without having sex.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Tons of it. I can't remember if it was that summer or the next summer. It was pretty soon after that. I went home. I'm not in this like tiny Bible college in the prairies, isolated. It's a dry town. I go home, still living at my parents' house in the summers.
Right.
But that's the summer I lost my virginity. One of the ones after, like, still in Bible college. That's the first time I smoked a cigarette.
You're crazy.
You're going to hell.
Yeah, the first time I smoked weed, which was still allegedly illegal at the time. I didn't do that stuff all summer, the whole time. But, like, I tried a couple of things. And I was like, okay, now I have to figure out where these things fit out in a system of morality, where it's not just all evil. So it's like figuring out how to do those things in ways that are safe, that are consent focused.
At this point, did you feel like an atheist even though you were finishing school?
Yeah. So for those like 3rd, 4th, 5th year of Bible college, even the year after that, I was still living in Saskatchewan. I was still actively involved in Christian community, like volunteered at a youth group, figuring these things out. And it's not a quick process to build something new.
Right.
So there's solidly like through Bible college, it was like this doubt, this uncertainty. I kind
Did
of like
feel like Hannah Montana?
Yes. Yes. Great description.
Like BDSM leather Hannah Montana.
Man. It's crazy. And like it's so weird being able to like put the Hannah Montana wig back on and like the hat back on. Like I can still have conversations with like my Christian friends about like correct Christian doctrine.
Right.
Because like I am well educated and I do know like, okay, well, if I was a Christian and this is like the different branches of theology and like what they say, and like I can talk to them about Christianity, even though they know I'm like a pagan, queer,
like code
kinky
freak, and they know all about my life and they accept me and they love me.
You get the best of both worlds.
But I still got the knowledge and education from like really great professors who know what they're talking about. So it's a very weird, code switchy is key.
In any way, did exploring kink help you move through religious shame at all?
Yeah, I feel like the religious shame is something that like lurked in the background for me. Yeah. Because on the surface, I wasn't like, oh, this is bad. I was like, I'm not a Christian anymore.
You're just like, you just didn't believe it immediately?
That's what it felt like. Like there was no like active like pressing shame of like, oh, I went to this kink event and like got tied up and like learned some things and that's really bad. It was like, well, it's not bad. Yeah. If God doesn't exist. Right. so it's only and I'm like, I haven't figured out if that's what I'm gonna like go with, but like it's falling apart and falling away.
Yeah.
So the religious shame is the thing that like is the layers crusted on like exploring and figuring out as I go. And I think especially, funny enough, maybe it's not all religion. Maybe it's just patriarchy. Because figuring out myself in a kinky context of where do I fall in the kinky context? In the contest, who's the kinkiest?
Who is the kinkiest?
Someone has to be the most kinky.
Theoretically, someone is
somebody
the most.
must be.
That is a person I do want to meet. Actually,
perhaps
I'm
we
very
should find them.
curious.
Yeah,
Probably crazy and intense in the best way.
that as a contest would be insane to watch.
If you think you're the kinkiest,
Reach out.
Let us know. Yeah, they probably want to
hit their line.
have some questions.
Yeah.
So figuring out myself within kink, where I fall, the shame of like patriarchy is huge. As a person raised and socialized as a man, I'm a switch, and I like being submissive.
Yeah.
That's something that like is an active part of my kink life. Unpacking the shame of that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, brutal.
That's pretty
huge.
big.
I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot now, but like the onion's small, but it's still there.
Yeah.
And it's always going to be like some element of working through it going on.
Absolutely.
But that's not like because I think Jesus thinks that's evil. That's because of like within Christianity that I was raised in, within like my relationship to family, within like the cultural context. It's all of those things.
Totally. I
pressing
mean,
in.
that's
And it's tied.
our whole society too. Like
Exactly.
I even feel that as well. Like I was me finding this like dominant side of me. Like I was going through the same thing. Like it felt really like I couldn't, but it's like the door was see-through, like just walk through. Yeah. But it felt like a cage. Yeah. But the door's unlocked. You know what I mean?
It's your mind prison.
Yeah, it's like a mind prison.
Absolutely.
For sure. But I can imagine it's like the church is so patriarchal though, to a different degree beyond what our society already does. So it's
And like
it's
I
huge.
said, with religious shame around like gender identity, and like being non-binary and going by she, her, and like valuing that and loving that, and that being a really rich, delicious part of my life and who I am. Yeah. The like patriarchy shame is so it's just like really presses in on that point.
Am I allowed to ask this question? It's okay if you don't feel like to answer.
Sure, no matter what.
But if you don't want to answer, it's okay if it's like too much. Yeah. But how did it feel to wear like women's clothes in kink contexts? You know, because that I feel like that's even further of like going down that road. Yeah. You know?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Did that bring up any shame for you, or was that?
It felt so natural.
Lovely. Like, it felt freeing.
I love that.
Freeing.
Yeah.
And so like there is shame around it, but I don't think it was around the dress and the appearance and the clothing. It was around the role.
Right.
And like, of course, the layers of unpacking. At first I was like, oh, this is cross-dressing. Yeah. I just like to wear women's clothes. Right. Not, oh, this is a part of who I am. Yeah. I'm trans. I'm a woman. I have that in me. That's part of me. Listening to my body as I say that out loud in a public forum. Like there's still like that. There's like something right there that's just like shame.
You're like, ooh.
Like even just saying it out loud.
Like, can I say this? Yeah.
I will say being like a dominant femme, sometimes presenting AFAB person on field specifically, so many men have come out of the woodwork who want to wear women's clothing as like a kink, and I don't think they've ever met someone like me who's gonna like unpack that with them. Yeah,
we're gonna see what this means. I sit down
and I'm like, I think there's a lot of deep-rooted like transness that has been shoved down in that kink specifically.
You're their safe space.
So I'm like, why? Yeah, why? Why do you? Why?
Let's unpack it. Why?
Yeah, why do you want that? And it's like my favorite is like understanding the psychology of kink, and I'm like, I don't know if you knew what you were signing up for on this date.
Unpacking kink and like what's hiding behind it is one of those things that's like kink is play. Kink is fun. It's this fun little thing we're doing.
Yeah.
But also,
it's a window into your soul.
Behind all of that, there's a reason you like playing these roles. And that's something going on. Like, it's never like just this little surface, ooh, this is a fun thing.
No.
There's trauma, there's shame, there's frustration, there's desire, all pent up somewhere. Yeah. And kink is a great way to explore that and open it up in a fun, playful context.
Yeah.
And I think
there's work you got to do to figure out what's going on, or else you're going to get caught off guard all of a sudden and something's going to go wrong. You got to pay attention.
I think because a huge part of kink is power dynamics for many people. And in our society, power dynamics are tied to gender. So no matter what, you're kind of exploring gender a little.
It's really hard to do any kink without exploring gender.
Yeah. And for a lot of people, especially if you're going against your specific gender roles, you can find out a lot of something trans about yourself. Like for me, that was part of me understanding that I feel non-binary, because to feel like I am, before when I identified as a woman, I was like, I'm a dominant woman, and you can absolutely be a dominant woman. It's just for me, I was like, I don't feel like I align with anything that being a woman means. Like I don't identify with this box anymore, you know, because I feel like I don't. Sometimes I'm in that box, but sometimes I'm in this totally other box, you know, and all of the shit's made up. And that's where I saw it. And I'm like, I'm just going to check out of the box. Yeah.
You get to carve what it is, and you get to form it, and you get
I'd rather
to
make my own.
Explore it. Yeah.
Totally. And I think that's a common experience for a lot of other people too. Like if you're willing to really look at it. Yeah. You know, if you're an overanalyzer like me, if you're a kinky overanalyzer, I have kind of a theoretical question for everyone. Okay. Do we think kink is a rebellion against morality or proof that morality shapes desire? You can sit with that. Do you want me to say it again? Mm-hmm. Is kink a rebellion against morality, which like you're going against everything that's moral, or is it proof that morality shapes our desire?
I think how you engage in kink is what answers that question. Because how you're doing kink and how you're engaging with it and how you're approaching it and what you're getting out of it. Kink is like a pretty neutral territory in this sense of like morality. It's like, how are you doing it? How are you engaging it? You can use kink as a thing that's different from the morality that's been given to you and try and explore things. But kink is deeply, deeply intertwined with a robust system of morality if you're doing it well and you're doing it safely.
This is, I think, a little bit of both. It depends what morality means to you. Like define morality because there is so much ethics and guidelines and rules and consent, which I would say is very morally good.
Yes,
you know,
thumbs up.
It has a guidelines of its own morals. But I would say if we're talking about like societies, the church's morality, I would say it's quite a rebellion against it. And I think morality is kind of, it's food. A little bit. Like I think it feeds, it inspires kink. And that's kind of the yes and the second part of the question is it proof that morality shapes desire? To me,
absolutely.
If we're talking about morality in terms of like church morality, society morality, then I would say like that's all of its food. I think kink oftentimes is like what's taboo. Yeah. You know, it's playing with that. And that's kind of like when you'll see there's a lot of porn, especially like the beginning origins of pornography, going back to medieval times, a lot of it was about like priests and nuns.
Was it?
Yeah, like that is like the origin.
Should we do an episode on the origins of porn?
I mean, we dug into it a little bit in our episode on the history of lesbian sex. That's why I know this information. But the origins of porn, a lot of it was written about nuns, you know, a lot of it's written about like priests, and still to this day, that's a big category. And I think it's because of this idea that they're meant to be pure, they're meant to be abstinent, and then seeing them do the taboo is very exciting. And I think you see that in so many kinks. Like if you think about like cuckolding, like that is so taboo, especially like if you're a man watching your wife get fucked by another man. It's like that is so taboo in society. Like
Crazy.
That is such like a question of your manhood, everything that is meant to be in society. But that is so exciting for some people, like just the idea of that. And like go through any kink, really, we could talk about it in that same way. Is it goes against more morality and it's taboo. And that's why it's exciting.
Yeah. If there's a kink that exists, it's because the opposite exists. And if there's something like that's supposed to be either super morally pure or super wrong to do, then the kink will exist.
Yeah.
Like by nature. Watching cartoons, seeing somebody tied up on the railroad tracks, and you're like, but what if though? What if this was, we explored it more? Inherently kind of creates this curiosity, I think.
Psychology kind of backs this up. So one of the oldest psychological theories about desire comes from Freud, who argued that when societies repress sexuality, those desires don't disappear. They move into fantasy. However, I will say that citing Freud is kind of like citing Wikipedia because so many...
It's worse.
It's worse. So many of his theories rely on unproven subjective anecdotes. But that being said, it's been a long time since Freud said this, and there's been other studies to back this up. So psychologist Justin Lay-Miller did conduct large-scale studies of sexual fantasies and taboo scenarios, and found that power dynamics surrounding religious imagery or dominance and submission are extremely common. He comes to the conclusion that the tabooness of a scenario itself can heighten arousal. So from a psychological perspective, kink can be understood as a response to restriction. The more something is framed as forbidden, the more erotic energy it can carry. So I don't know. I think like being kinky is so good because the opposite exists.
So good.
You know, it's like it's something to rebel against, and the rebellion feels exciting in itself. I will say for me, like going into a sex club, I'm like, I am filled with electricity. Like I'm so excited because I love the openness of the taboo. Like I'm like, oh my God.
We're just doing this.
Yeah, I'm like, I love that everyone is doing what they would never admit to outside these walls. Like it's all in the open
but in now. Here it's all our little secrets.
Oh, and I love that.
It's delicious.
It's delicious.
It's so good.
It's fantastic.
Something I want to like sort of connect is with power dynamics specifically. A lot of my kink is very power dynamic focused. I have a power exchange partner where that's like the primary thing we're doing when we meet up is she is in control and I'm giving her that control.
Right.
In preparing for this, I was reflecting on how religion is kind of just a non-consensual power exchange.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's why it's erotic material.
It's a huge source because the whole thing is you're in this position of having no ability to fix yourself, no ability to do anything good, and you need Jesus.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Only you need God to come and save you. You have no power. It's all Him, zero power.
Yeah.
Ooh, Jesus.
And, like,
I just love that.
There is a dynamic to that which is enjoyable when you choose that,
suffering,
and when you're not forced into it. This is one of the reasons I love religious role play so much. So when you take something that was done to you and you had no power over, there's a lot of themes in kink, a lot of different scenarios where this works. And you take that and you reframe it where when I am being submissive, when I am in power exchange, I have the most power in the dynamic.
Arguably, like if you're doing kink well, like the sub is kind of a lot in control.
Because I have the control.
You set the rules.
To turn this on, off, up, down. Yeah. Because it's done in a way that's consensual, it takes what used to be really difficult and traumatic and you're just trapped and gives you the ability to put your nervous system back in that place. But you're still actually in control. So your nervous system can process things and actually be okay. It's which like not necessarily that's what we should all be doing with kink. Like it's not a replacement for therapy at all.
I mean, what you said, that actually is like an element of therapy. That's like one thing my therapist has told me, not specifically in relation to kink, but just that you can't always be over analyzing your brain and your emotions. It's like at a certain point you need to show yourself like a new safe thing. Like you need to go out and try things and show yourself a different reality, you know, and like give your brain examples that things are safe and good.
Yeah.
And that is kind of you showing your brain that, you know?
Do you think that people who fully give themselves to Jesus and the pastor's praying over them and they're feeling that electricity and they fall over, experience something similar to somebody in a kink situation?
This is so silly. That's a crazy question.
Absolutely yes.
Really?
The physical sensation of what an intense religious emotional experience is like, which I know very well. I had a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know, really intense worship, music, working through things.
A full
it's
body,
vulnerable.
full soul
There's
experience.
the like little pad, like there's an atmosphere set. Your body knows something intense and emotional and important is happening. Yeah. And it's you're giving of yourself. You're accepting direction. Funny story. When I go to church now, sometimes I do with people who go to church. It's not great, but I do it sometimes. I'll have panic attacks in worship.
Really?
Yeah. And I'll be like, I need to leave or else I'm going to start hyperventilating. So I now, when I was, early on, I didn't know what was going on, but now I'm like, oh, I know what's happening. I need to leave. Yeah. Because I'm being put into a state that I know that's familiar, that is non-consensual power dynamic. Yeah. I know how to go into consensual power dynamics. Yeah. It's great. I'm really good at navigating that. Yeah. And so when I recognize it happening in a spiritual context, it's non-consensual. That's not my God anymore. Yeah. I'm not choosing this. Yeah. And it also makes sense to me to like be why some people were uncomfortable in worship in the past when I was growing up. I'm like, yeah, of course. This isn't your thing. I'm
uncomfortable when I go. Anytime I've been, it's usually for like a funeral or like other reasons, like someone else is religious and I'm there as a support. You know what I mean? It feels very culty and yucky to me the whole time. Like I feel like it's like an out of body experience. Like I'm not meant to be here.
When you want that and you're choosing that and you're choosing to participate in that, it's amazing. It's great. But when you're not, it's really bad.
It does feel gross. Yeah, it feels weird.
Yeah. It seemed like a silly question to you, but I felt like there's such a huge connection there because people who fully like invest themselves and give themselves fully to like Jesus and God and like that, they're so invested that that's the only thing they believe in. Then they look forward to those moments where they feel like there's so much energy in the room that they're going to fall over, that they're going to like pass out because it's just so intense. I'm thinking to myself, like, that is a similar experience to people who exercise consensual kink and feel all the excitement and the electricity from like the desires and the taboos and the things that they get to explore in a way without shame. I haven't gone to church in a long time, but I've had a similar experience in the past where I felt like I really don't want to be here. I'm anxious. This is like, doesn't feel good. And I think it's exactly what you said about feeling like I'm there and I'm like trapped in a way. Like, like I'm here, I'm confined, and you're gonna like say what you gotta say. Like it's not a conversation, like you're just like saying words at me.
And I can't question anything. Yeah. No, I mean, I thought it was a really strange question that you asked, but I have never been in that scenario. So it's really, that was actually interesting.
Very on point. Yeah.
That was interesting.
Trauma bond.
Yeah. Exactly. That's a good place to leave it then.
Awesome.
Before we wrap it up, where can people find you? Can they find you?
You can find me, RYLAN Straight, I think is my tag on Instagram. Also, I want to plug Salem Burns Events. That's my mistress. So you can find her on Instagram, Salem Burns _ We're also doing more classes talking about kink and safety. Get educated, figure out how to do it safely.
Hell yeah.
And then it can be a positive, growing, learning experience.
Absolutely. So you can find Salem Burns _ on Instagram and Salem Burns on FetLife as well.
Wonderful. Are you going to get rewarded for that?
I will see, hopefully. Yeah.
So that's everything that we have for you today. And if you want to dive deeper into shame and religion, we have another episode called The Disturbing History of Conversion Therapy. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, make sure to leave us a 5-star review because it really does help the podcast out. And if you want to further support our work, make sure to check out the Patreon link in the description down below. That's everything that we got. And until next time,
Peace.